haven't been this excited in a very long time. Dame Julie Andrews is in studio with us this morning.
Yes, of course. She has starred in some of the most beloved films in our time, including Best Picture winner The Sound of Music and the coming-of-age classic The Princess Diaries.
Well, her latest role is a bit more animated in the Minions Rise of Gru.
Julie once again plays Gru's mom, Marlena Gru, a character that she describes as deliciously dreadful.
Oh, no, she's the worst mum in the world.
What? Mom, who is this sweaty guy? He's stinking up the house. I thought you were cooking cabbage.
He's my new guru. Tell your weird buddies they better stop pulling their weight around here, or I'm kicking them out. They are killing my mellow vibes. Good.
I didn't know it was you.
Julie Andrews.
Such a terrible lady.
The opposite of you.
Well, whatever. I mean, do you think there's a little bit of her in me? I don't know.
No.
Here's the thing. My kids, we watched it on Friday. My son's 8, my daughter's 5. They loved it.
Oh, good. I haven't seen it yet. I'm dying to. Well, I've been very busy traveling lately, but I'm dying to see it.
It's fun.
She, this, not to give away too much, but she's a pretty bad mom.
Oh, she's terrible. Yeah, go on.
So there's an obvious correlation between her parenting and the fact that her son comes out as a supervillain.
Yes. It's the reason he's a supervillain, I'm sure. I mean, with a mum like that, I think he would be. Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear you haven't seen it yet. I'm also imagining where you voice over this stuff. Do you have? Are you just doing this at home? Do you guys?
Well,
work
I have
together?
a nice secret. I'll tell you. When COVID hit, I was going into a studio all the time, in a very lovely studio, quite close. But with COVID and everything was like, do you think you might send us some temp tracks or something from home? I have a grandson that is an editor and a sound man, does all of that. He's all of 25 years old.
Oh, that's wonderful.
He said, Granny, I'll build you a little studio. So he commandeered one of our upstairs closets.
That's awesome.
And it's hung with blankets and drapes and stuffed with pillows for sound and all of that. And I go in and kind of throw the last blanket over me and practically expire in there, but I get... I do get all my recording done in there.
And voila.
It's perfect. And now I don't want to go anywhere else.
Of course.
It's all convenient.
I didn't know it was you. I watched the whole thing last night with my kiddos, and I said, guys, we're interviewing Julie Andrews tomorrow. I'm like, which one was she? So they waited for the credits. And I said, Mom, it was the mom. I'm like, oh.
It's one of the hardest ones, voiceovers that I've ever done.
That's awesome.
Because she's kind of complicated lady.
Yes, I'm sure she
quite
is.
the accent.
Exactly, exactly. So listen, you were you were recently honored with the 48th AFI Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool. I don't know if you were surprised, but you had the Von Trapp children. They were there.
There were 7 that sadly were without Julie,
Yes.
who are no longer with us, but the 5 of them would. Well, I do keep in touch with them, and I know them, and we exchange Christmas cards and birthdays and stuff. But I just love them dearly, and there they are.
You know, it's so interesting. So this isn't about me, but my husband's from Nigeria, and he moved here when he was 14, and we started dating. He was 17, I was 18, and we connected because you came up, and he used to love The Sound of Music, and so did I. And I just thought how it just goes to show how this show it was global. I mean, you got a little boy in Nigeria and a girl in Kansas obsessed with the product.
Isn't that amazing? It just shows how, I guess, universal
Isn't it
it is.
amazing?
Yeah. Well, it's all about love. And how can you put it down when it's got so much music and so much beautiful scenery?
Yeah.
And a lot of kids.
Before we go, speaking of voiceover, you're the voice of Lady Thistledown in Whistledown.
I love it when we didn't
watch Bridgerton?
I do. Let me rephrase it. Deborah watches, and I kind of sit there.
Said on air a little earlier ago that my one line is my name is Lady Whistledown, and I get into it by saying that before I start recording, and it kind of brings me back into that voice.
I had no idea.
Maybe it's no different from my ordinary voice.
No, we didn't know.
Like it
Do you change it at all? I mean, is there any attitude change for it?
Well, for that lady?
Yes.
Well, she gets very caustic from time to time, and she puts people down and talks about, she's more a teaser than anything else. When will we discover such and such and such and such?
I just want to listen to you just
talk.
talk.
I know.
I just want to hear all your stories.
I know.
I've read your book, but I just want to hear it in your voice, which I guess there's an
could
audio version
certainly
somewhere.
And we've got
these
some-
days have a lot of stories.
And we've got some children's books on the way too.
Yes,
soon,
we
right?
do. We do. We've got one coming out in the fall, and it's called The First Notes. And believe it or not, it's about the monk in the 11th century who actually invented the solfege, the scale of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Do us a
And
favor.
in the 11th century. Yeah.
Really?
Come back when the children's books are out, and so we can talk
I'd
about
love
this.
to.
Yes,
I'd love to. And I'll
All
bring
right.
Emma with me because you wrote it.
Yes.
And make sure you tell me what you're wearing so we can coordinate again.
Dame Julie
Don't forget to call.
Andrews and her twin, Dame
This is the
Chanel
dream.
Jones. It's called Minions.
better be.
Minions, The Rise of Gru from our sister company, Universal Pictures and Illumination Entertainment. It is in theaters. In theaters, July 1st.
You're a light.
I've got to go see it.
You do.